Yo, 1, 2. What's good, y'all? What's good? Alright, pardon me if I'm a little slow moving or if I seem a little slow moving, alright? Because I'm just getting up, starting my day, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So, plus, I'm a Pisces. I'm slow moving when I wake up anyway. I don't know if all the rest of you Pisces are like that. Let me know if you are not, but that's how I am. But let's get into it. This is for the Sagittarius. This is for the Sagittarius cross watchers and for the people who want to know how Sagittarius energy is being applied to your natal charts and to your solar chart. You're all welcome. Glad to have you here. Much gratitude and all that. I may cuss, but I don't curse. Let's get that situated first. Bars, because I'm nice. You know what I mean? I'm nice. But on the real, right? It just feels good to not have to shuffle the cards. The cards are already shuffled. They already, you know what I mean? Just trust me. Just trust me. The way these cards are unfolded is just like, it's magical. Tarot always surprises me. You know what I mean? Just put it that way. Let me keep it a bean. Bars. But what else I gotta say? If you need to get in contact with me or you want to get in contact with me because you like what I do and how I do it here, there will be a link in the description box, or there'll be a link that'll pop up on one of these corners that'll take you to my website as well. And there you can set up an appointment with me via Google Meet. Pause because that's crazy. But you can, and we can do this virtual conference thing face to face. I do the reading right in front of your bank. Or if that makes you uncomfortable, understandable, we can get on speakerphone. I'll do it that way. Alright? We could do a natal chart reading. Not a full one, calm your tits. But we could do I could pick apart your chart a little bit, bars, and show you some things. You got an hour, if you get a natal chart reading, it should be longer than an hour. I'm just keeping it a beam with you. But we could do that, or we could do a tarot reading. It's up to you. All right, so let's get into this reading. Bang. We're starting this off with the initiation process for the alchemy, from the alchemy deck that I'm still continuing to use. And this first card is called the Yellowing card. Now, on this card is a beautiful card. Yellow is it represents joy. It represents happiness, right? But the joy and the happiness comes here in the form of knowing that you're either going on a journey that is eventually going to come to an end too. Be mindful of that. Or you're kind of like reversing the process of going through some type of pain, hurt, trauma, and it's like healing. So think about it as like if you got a wound, right? And it scabs up. The scab around it eventually starts to yellow out, right? It starts to yellow up the more that wound starts to heal. So that could be the form of yellow that we're talking about with this reading as well. You can also see the snake in this card. It represents the Ouroboros. And it's not actually being undergone yet, but it's about to. And that's how you could also get a good glimpse and understanding of what this card is about as well. It's about the next phase in a journey, a timeline, a story. So it's like if you get a book, right? If you get a book, the cover of it is the cover. It gives you the appeal. It shows you the author's name. It shows you the title of the book. Whatever artwork that they put on the cover to bring you in, to attract you to the book. The yellow part, you just look at that as the pages. You know that you're about to open a book and you're about to go read a story. You're about to go on a journey. It's about to take you on a journey. So the yellow is the pages. You do know, though, that there's an end of the book. There's an end of the book. Which is very interesting for this reading because we got the season autumn in this deck. In this spread as well. So I would tell you this, Sagittarius and Sagittarius cross watchers, that this is one of those scenarios where the story is actually moving forward. All right, you have entered the phase of going forward. All right, so this is more like the book analogy of you've seen the cover when the leaves was green. We're gonna use some fall analogies here as well. We might as well, since the color yellowing is here. I think it matches perfectly with this spread. It's like we're going to enter the phase of leaving the green leaves, starting to turn yellow, and then eventually, red, red, orange, brown, and then they fall to the ground, bars, because I'm nice, and you know that, but look, enough of me. So, what I'm feeling right now is Sag and cross watchers included, y'all are looking forward because something has really set off now. Something, I think that has been long awaited, longer than you initially intended. You probably was like, when am I ever going to get my big break? Or when am I ever going to get that traction that lets me know that I've arrived? You know what I mean? And it has peaked its head now. Now it has peaked its head. That moment has arrived. You don't have to question it anymore. This is something to be joyful about. So I want you to think about what you're joyful about right now that's going right in your life. Ignore all of the things that are trying and challenging, because the color yellow covers pain. It covers trauma. It covers, you know what I'm saying? It covers sadness. It covers all of that because you know you're on your way to something, and things cycle out. I think humanity has a real issue with things cycling out. As much as people love to celebrate holidays and shit like that, like you could just see that when they say, you know, good things don't last or all good things come to an end. Not that those messages are concrete either. What I would say is that things cycle out. Like, yeah, that's the best way to say it. Things cycle out, and there comes changes with that. So sometimes I think that's where the sadness comes from. That's where the saying actually comes from. All good things don't last forever, because you gotta let some things go. You gotta shed, like the Ouroboros. You gotta shed your own skin. You gotta change things around. And the only constant is change. And I think as humans, we get so comfortable with what is already, especially when we put our add-ons. That's what I'm feeling. Like, what are your add-ons right now, Sag? Because they may be heavier than you need them to be. So the reason why I bring that up is because the more you have to drop along the journey, along the way, the more, I guess, pain you'd feel. The more, what's that word? Maybe remorse, right? Like survivor's guilt, that type of thing, because you carried so much along the way, you know. And I did a study before. Did I do the study or did somebody else do the study? Well, anyway, I know I heard about this study to where I did this study. Americans spend most of their money, this is corporate wise, most of their money after they make a whole lot of sales when the economy is booming, right? Granted, when the economy is booming, everybody starts hiring other people like crazy. Like, you know, oh yeah, we'll hire, you got a post, you get fucking hired, you know what I'm saying? And then once the stock market starts acting up, it's like they drop everybody. Not everybody, but they drop a good deal of people, right? So that's something that I want you to think about right now in this reading. When I say your add-ons, just consider them. Now, I'm not trying to coerce you into being a minimalist, right? Because that's the type of shit that I be on. But I'm just saying there can be some benefits from being a minimalist, because you have such less expectation of anything. You're just happy with your toothbrush. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hyping it up. I'm gassing it up. Of course, you're not just going to be happy with your toothbrush. But when you have such low expectations of your outer world, then you don't have no disappointments, or you have less disappointments. You have less survivor's guilt. You have less guilt about anything. You're like guilt prone. Just consider that. I'm being told to channel that. I'm being told to tell you that because sometimes that's where a lot of happiness can come from as well. Knowing that you don't have to carry so much of a burden, you know, especially when you're in control of that burden. But do know this yellowing is a phase that's going to change, right? So that's the initiation process. You have your book, you've just opened your book, and now you're into the first few chapters and you're off to the races. You know what I mean? Whatever you got going has got traction now. You know better than I do. So now we get to the oil of vitriol, which is the next card. It's in the place of fortune. So something has been egging you, something has been yelling at you, scratching at you, clawing at you, type shit. And you've heard it. And I get the feeling that you kind of ignored it. Maybe still ignoring it. And yeah, that might be a remedy for now, but eventually, that there's gonna have to be some changes. So when you see this card, there's gonna have to be some changes. You gotta adapt to something. Sagittarius is a mutable sign, so I don't see that being an issue. But you might be such in a leadership vibe that you might feel like, yo, look, I don't care about all that other noise over here. I'm doing what I want to do as a leader, because how else am I going to be? Maybe you are in the position of transforming what it is that you got going on, or just transforming the industry. Maybe you're a first leader in something that is going to be life changing, that is going to shatter glass ceilings type shit. And not for nothing, and this just came out of nowhere. I'm channeling all of this because it's like two sides to this card, but I'm being loudly led to speak about this side. Like, leadership takes fierceness. Leadership takes, you can't, like, if you got a lion like this screaming behind you, it don't even matter. It don't even matter when it comes to leadership, because you got to break a mold. You can't, like, that lion behind you, what I'm picking up on is that's people saying, how dare you leave me behind? I'm just keeping it a being, That's who that lion is. That's what that lion is. And they don't know how to properly communicate that to you. It comes in, the communication gets conveyed to you in ways that makes it feel like they're trying to understand how to communicate with you instead of just doing it. They may be seeing how other people communicate with you, and then they're trying it that way, but you pick up on it because you like, that's not you. Like, that ain't even how you sound. Like, you got AI typing your text messages and shit now. Like, what the fuck is going on with you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're aware of these things. And this is part of the sadness that I'm talking about, that comes with, you're going to get to an end of a story. You're going to get to the end of the story, and a lot of the times we already know how these things play out. Yeah, there's some surprises here, some sharp turns here and there. I guess that keeps it exciting type shit. But what are you going to do? Are you going to succumb to the loud bangs and the loud noises behind you and say, look, try to negotiate or try to rearrange your life for other people? Or are you going to lead? We got the sun here. The sun represents leadership in astrology, right? Ruled by Leo. Strong leadership characteristics with the sun. Strong identity associated with the sun. So would you compromise your identity? This is what I'm also getting. You're visible. Sag, you're visible in what you do. So this can trigger in two ways. It can be inspiring, and it can be hurtful. Not that you intentionally are trying to hurt people, but that's what triggers do, And some people, I guess, like pain in that type of form, so they'll keep looking. But is it your fault? Of course not. It's not your fault. You know what? It brings me to this. The younger G sent me a message today online, right? And it was of this dude. He was breaking down how the sun, since we're talking about the sun represents all of us, right? So the sun is God, and it's just observing its experience through human form, but through all of us. So when you hear things like, yo, this is all connected, we're all one, we're all in unison, a lot of people have an issue with that because of their egos. It's actually sun energy that has people conflicted with that concept. When it's just like, yo, God is sun energy broken down into individual bits, like drops of an ocean, broken down into individual bits of us, individuals that share the solar power, that share source. So when we get to a higher level of consciousness, when you speak to someone, when you correspond with someone, when you see someone, you're really looking at you just in another vessel, right? And of course, our solar unit has its unique individual characteristics and stuff like that. Yeah, we get that. But that person that you're conversing with or looking at, they still have the same source inside of them. So really what you're doing is you're having conversations with God, and he's not even telling you, or she's not even telling you. It's not even telling you. But when you're tapped in, when you're aware of this shit, you know. And it can get tricky and it gets sad, right? Let's get back to sad. Not even how tricky it is. Let's get back to sad because we're going to stay on topic here. It gets sad when the other party does not understand that. I've been in plenty of situations where I'm aware of this concept. And I speak to people in a way that I'm aware of this concept. But they continuously single themselves out and want to isolate themselves in the conversation. Isolate themselves in a scenario. Well, I'm this and I'm this and but you like that and you got it like this, and so much singling out, so much looking outside of the self when we within. This is why it's very challenging to be an empath, because when you're an empath, you're highly aware of this concept. But when people are not empaths, it's real challenging to deal with the concept, right? And even when you ask yourself, well, why do foul things happen to people and this and why my mom got taken away from me and shit like that, right? And it's just like, really think about it. We on this yellowing path, right? We are aware that a story is going to cycle out. The story, there's an end to the book, yo. It resets though. The cycle starts again, you know? And that's another glorious thing about the eternity of the solar power of it's regeneration. It will be regenerated. So I want to make that point too. And not for nothing, the guy that was explaining this concept in the video that was sent to me was in prison. He was in prison. Happy. Like this yellow one that I'm talking about. Happy, yo. Happy breaking this shit down, grabbing the book, showing the pictures and all that. In prison. Wave cap on and all that. He just breaking it down in the day room. You understand what I'm saying? So you can find happiness in the darkest of places. I know. But my point to tell you, Sag and Sag Crosswatchers, is this. You're going to come across that time where you think about these things. When you know where this story is heading. And you're just like, man. You got to find joy in it, yo. You got to find joy that is part of the process. It's part of the cycle. The story will end and it will begin again. Begin again. Did I put a D at the end of again? Jeez. This looks like a key right here too. It looks like a key. This cross and sort of like almost like the Mercury symbol too. But I ain't gonna get too deep into that right now. Let's get to the next card, which is the Resistance card, which is the Autumn card. And this is why I say this is real connected, this reading. Starting with the yellowing and getting to the Autumn card of Resistance. Oh, before I speak on that, I do want to mention that the Oil of Vitriol card is in the Fortune position. So you may have to take on that leadership ability just for the sake of fortune. Some people, I've had somebody say something like this to me before too. Some people don't want to see you famous. Not that famous is the goal of everybody in the world, but some people don't want to see you famous. And I would say, be mindful of someone that literally says that to you one day. They may not clarify when you ask them, why would you say that? That's even something more to be leery of. But anyway, that's where the fortune resides right now. Sometimes it's like a everybody can't go situation, yo. Now, I think for those of you that are like ignoring certain responsibilities and letting things cycle out that you would normally just continue doing, I think you know exactly why you're doing it. Because it takes the courageousness of ignoring certain things to break the mold into some forward thinking shit. So to this autumn card, that's the resistance, right? This is in the resistance position because this story that you're on or this journey that you're on, there's going to be people that you connect with along the way. Autumn will come, and not for nothing, autumn is the end of the cycle. So this is why I say it's very interconnected, these cards in this reading. So you see the pyramid downward. It's the downward trajectory that's going to happen. Things climax, hit their peak, and then they go downward. Well, autumn is the peak. So who's going to be with you during autumn time? And this might be significant to the actual season of fall. Who's going to be with you around that time? Because those are going to be people that's going to benefit from what it is that you're journeying on now. So I would say that the people that are this is a time when you can actually allocate who's going to be there with you and who's not. And when fall time comes around, that's where you can hand out the rewards to everyone that was with you. Now, this is something to take into consideration. Something like AI, right? Huge technology that is taking jobs. Like it is. I use it sometimes. It's taking jobs, y'all. And this allows an individual to move lighter, to become a minimalist, to not carry so much of a burden, to not carry so much weight. Now, what do you think happens the more that this type of thing accelerates? You're going to get more of this type of lion energy behind you that says, hey, wait, hope you don't get famous. Don't you go get famous on me now. Don't you go leaving us now. You leaving us? Don't forget the small people, you know? And that's not your intention. It's not like you put yourself in front of a camera to leave people behind on purpose to hurt them intentionally. No, you're just being your optimal self. You're just doing what the sun does. Shine. What the fuck? You know? But understand, this autumn card is in the place of resistance. So what's happening is they want to get you to refrain from reaching that autumn peak, and for people to be able to grab to the low-hanging fruits and say, okay, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours. Everybody gets their fair share. I don't know why I just thought about Care Bear stare, but you know, it's bars, probably because it's bars. But you know, that's a decent thing. And it's a way to look at the cycle in a way that says, yeah, we did it. We got ours. And now that's the end. So when I bring up AI, I mean like, well, some people who might have gotten a position along the way might not get that position now. And it's kind of cold. It's very calculating, but it is what it is. The more that technology advances on the planet, the more convenient life is supposed to be for the people. In fact, technology is supposed to deflate prices. See how that's going. In certain areas in the tech industry that works. But the purpose of tech is to deflate other commodities. I don't know why that's so slow to happen. And the reason why that's, or should I say, the result of that being so slow to happen is what causes these lions to roar. Right? What if you have a lifestyle that is luxurious and lavish? Let's say Leo-like, right? Extravagant, like to be on the scene. The prices in those areas or industries, they're the ones that inflate the most. If you go to a baseball game, I don't know how much you're going to pay for a hot dog, pause, because that's crazy, but you're going to pay. You're going to pay way more than I would pay for a carrot dog that I grill right here at home. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, usually they got it to spend it. That's their lifestyle. They make sure that they have it to spend it. But it doesn't mean that they're happy. It doesn't mean that they know how to use what they have to get what they want, or how to use what they have optimally, right? But when you put it in with people who can see it through with you to the fall season and realize that that's when the harvest is, and I'm not saying to just wait to pay people until fall. But what if that's the leadership? What if that's what the leadership is about? What if that's what breaking the mold is about? Stop penny pinching people and just pay them in one season. Bang, you get paid every 6 months. That is unheard of. You're not there. Well, maybe you can team up with a bunch of minimalists and say, okay, yeah, I could see that through. This is my side gig anyway. Let's do it. See you in fall. I'm being channeled to say this type of shit. If this comes into fruition and this is a thing that people start picking up and adopting, just remember that you heard it here first. You heard. But you can't keep it unless you give it away, right? But I'm serious. Now, this resistance area wants to keep you away from the fog. This is what makes this reading like, because fog is like, fog, you can't really take any blame for being indecisive. So this is the destination card, fog. Meaning you went through this journey, you went through this story, you got people looking at you differently. They hoping that you don't reach a certain point, a certain tax bracket or what have you. You make it through all of that with the people who belong. You hit them off with their share, only to land into the fog. Let's think about that. And I say think about that. You know what this makes me think of? Like, let's think about death for a minute. Let's talk about death for a minute, or what we perceive death to be, right? It's like, okay, fall season obviously vividly shows you the process of death, dying and then death, right? So it looks like this autumn is actually turning into winter. This isn't the winter card, but it's like fog. It's almost like, okay, this is what I got. It's like a near-death experience. It's not actual death. It's a near-death experience to where you hear those stories of people who clocked out and they was on their bed and they had an astral projection. They went to this place. Some of them went to hell. Some of them went to heaven. Some of them seen the light on the other side type shit. Wherever they went, they went. They seen their angels. They seen their demons. They seen the symbols that they needed to see to come back. When they came back, they like, yo, this is what I saw. So this is what I'm seeing right now. Your destination is this area. All right? But it's cool, just like fog is. So fog, a blanket of fog can actually cool. You know, it could blanket the alchemist's laboratory, if you will. So you could feel maybe this type of sadness or gloominess, depending on how your mood swing. You know, I actually enjoy some gray days when it's raining out. I hear the rain hit the windowsill and stuff like that. That shit, generates me when I'm actually in the laboratory. Because what other alternative do I have? It's kind of like, yeah, you should be in the lab today because it's nasty outside, you know? And even on some of those days, I'll go out and grab something, you know, real quick. Just to touch the wet ground type shit. So another thing about the fog is that it cloaks you, it hides you. This is a part of the process that protects you, which is, if you ask me in this storyline especially, which is good, because you're doing your thing. You started a journey knowing that there's an end. You prepared. You made the necessary adjustments to minimalize to discern who can come along as you minimalize and make the adjustments as a leader, while having people who are triggered by you announcing their disgust, even in inadvertent ways. You've gotten your people across to the other side, to the next phase. Y'all enjoyed the harvest, and now it's like you disappear. It's important, especially when you're doing leadership stuff, because people may want to bite your sauce, pause, but they want to, they might want the recipe. And I would say charge for the recipe, because shit, why not? There's going to be second movers anyway that come along and see what you did, and they're going to what do you call it, replicate what you've done. There's always going to be second movers, but you don't got to give away the key ingredients. I think that's what this key represents. You don't have to give away the key ingredients of your recipe, of how you did it. And this might even become a cycle, is what I'm feeling, of when it is harvest time and you break bread with your people, that you just dissipate into the fog. You might take a trip somewhere. You might, you know what? There was this research company. I haven't worked for them before, but people was telling me about them when I was in corporate doing research, right? And they was like, yeah, you should probably check out this other company if you want to get a second gig, or if you want to leave this place, because some people was leaving the spot that I was in. They was like, yeah, you should check out this company. I heard they pay more, but they work less. So I'm like, elaborate. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, yeah, they you work for 3 seasons and you take a 4th season off. I was like, what? So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about it, and they told me the wages and all, and I'm thinking about that shit. I'm like, that's pretty fucking decent. So then, I had to ask, well, how long have they been in business? They told me, they've been in business for a while. Because research companies are not always in business for long periods of time. For reasons I don't want to digress, but that's what I'm picking up on with this fog thing. This might be something that you pick up on. This might be something that you adopt into your life and say, you know what? Again, leadership change. I'm the Sagittarius shit, y'all. Kid you not. There's something that you're working on, something that you're doing that's going to break the mold and break the fabric of tradition. It's just Sagittarius shit, B. That says, oh, you know what? I found a new way of life. And some people, again, you're probably ignoring some shit right now that people are calling you reckless, right? Sagittarius, reckless, making wild decisions that are irresponsible. However, you're breaking the mold with something. I would say don't fear this foggy destination. Just realize that fog, like all stories that we've spoken about, comes to an end too. There's going to be a time where there's going to be an end to the fog. But this is going to be a time that treats your trauma and your pain that you had to experience from shedding and letting go of people and stuff like that. But there's going to be 2 solutions to this fog. It's either going to be time or heat. So you can utilize heat through like creativity, passion, confrontation, confronting things or people that you feel need to be confronted and stuff like that, because that's going to make things more clear for you. You're going to get clarity on situations that you had none on, right? The more action that you take, creativity, if I didn't say that. And the other alternative is time, which is inevitable. It's an inevitable solution, right? Eventually the sun is going to come out and burn the fog away. Eventually it's inevitable. But what's also mysterious about this fog is no one knows how much time you're going to spend in the fog. That's undetermined. That's still a mystery. So I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I like this reading. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you got something from it. If you did, you can get in the comment section. I'm not, no pressure or nothing. I'm just saying, if it resonates, it resonates. Let the kid know, you heard. And with that being said, until next time, I'm out.